No, yo creo que definitivamente no. Digo, le va a afectar en lo anímico, ¿me entiendes? Porque no ganarle a Crawford, pues se me hace pues, una falta de respeto a él mismo, ¿me entiendes? Porque Canelo es un gran peleador, ¿me entiendes? Un peleador que se quita golpes, un peleador que pega fuerte, un peleador que va para adelante, un peleador inteligente. Y Crawford eso lo es, ¿me entiendes? Pero creo que definitivamente, o sea, para eso hicieron las divisiones, ¿me entiendes? Para pelear en cada peso. Efectivamente, Crawford ha estado subiendo de categoría, pero si tú lo viste en su última pelea, se vio pésimo, la verdad, con un peleador que ni sé cómo se llama, ¿me entiendes?
Madrimov.
Es un peleador común y corriente, ¿me entiendes? Y ganó división y apretada, ¿me entiendes? Y se la vio dura. Entonces, imagínate con Canelo, ¿me entiendes? Que Canelo pues está fuertísimo, nunca lo han noqueado, nunca lo han tumbado. O sea, ¿con qué le va a ganar Crawford, la verdad?
Entiendo. Yeah, and I just asked him, again, does it hurt Canelo's legacy? And he said, look, it's not about if it hurts Canelo's legacy. I think Canelo would disrespect himself with a loss to Crawford, and he just doesn't see it being possible. There's divisions for a reason, and in his last fight, Crawford struggled with a fighter that, is nowhere near Canelo. So imagine Canelo against him. Yeah, he just doesn't see it being a thing.
Digo, si le ofrece $30 millones, pues...
¿Otra vez? ¿Qué fue?
Pues si le ofrecen $30 millones, pues pelea hasta con el diablo.
Yeah, exactamente.
Nunca los ha ganado en su carrera, ¿me entiendes?
Yeah, he said, $30 million, you fight the devil, so why not?
También lo agarraron, ¿me entiendes? Hasta con Tyson Fury.
Yeah, exactly. He's saying that, Tyson Fury could have been the opponent for $30 million, so it is what it is. Finalmente de esa temita, ¿cómo ves que va a ir la pelea? ¿Knockout por Canelo o decisión?
Pues no te puedo decir, ¿me entiendes? Pero creo que Canelo va a ganar. Y si no gana, sería una gran decepción.
Yeah, Canelo wins, and if knockout comes, it comes. But if not, it'll be a big decision victory.
You guys heard it. Your ears did not deceive you. That's what Chavez Senior had to say. Which, according to the mainstream media and the race fans, Canelo was greater than Chavez. He was the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. And you guys heard Chavez say, man, he don't want to see Crawford versus Canelo because he didn't believe Crawford had a chance. He couldn't see a way possible for Crawford, a welterweight, to be a super middleweight in Canelo. Chavez Senior even said, don't even ask me about this silly money grab fight. A lot of times, Chavez Senior was actually walking away from interviews if they asked him about Canelo versus Crawford. That's how much he despised and disliked the fight. Until I heard what you guys just heard. When Chavez Senior said, Canelo will disrespect himself if he loses to Crawford. That's why I don't like the fight. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought you believed Crawford didn't have a chance. Now you saying if Canelo loses to Crawford, then he will disrespect himself. It will be too embarrassing. So you do believe Bud had a chance. You just didn't want to see it. You just didn't want to see Bud go Super Saiyan on Canelo. Is that what it is? Well, ironically, Crawford's power was so amazing to the point it had Chavez Senior, a legend, speechless. Man, Crawford beat Canelo so bad, we haven't seen Chavez Senior since then. He haven't said a word. He haven't gave a breakdown. He haven't given his reaction or anything. After the fight, I even heard that Chavez Senior went to Congress in Mexico, to the Mafia Congress, and he wanted to pass a law to plead the fifth. That's how bad Crawford put a whooping on Canelo Alvarez. Even Chavez Senior felt it. He gave him Pernell Whitaker vibe. When Chavez was seeing Crawford whoop Canelo, it was giving him even Frankie Randall flashbacks. Let's keep it a buck. Let's talk about the real reason why Chavez didn't want to see the fight. The same way Mikey and his brother Robert didn't want to see the fight, Mikey Garcia and Robert Garcia. The same way a lot of Hispanic fighters, along with trainers, etc., even the fans, along with the mainstream media, didn't want to see the fight. They knew Bud had a chance, but they also knew if Bud does do it, then guess what? Everything they written, all the agenda they were pushing, they can kiss that shit goodbye. And they knew it. Remember, Mikey Garcia, I'm going to play the audio at the end of the video. Before the fight, he was like, man, I don't want to see this fight. This is a money grab. Crawford is a great fighter. He's the best in the world, but that's in his division or around it. He can't move up 3 weight classes to beat the undisputed champion Canelo, who's pound for pound quality. Canelo is going to knock him out. I don't want to see the fight. Ironically, though, as soon as the fight was announced, Mikey Garcia changed his prediction. He said, guess what? I think Crawford is going to beat Canelo. I'm like, how, Sway? How? You was just saying you didn't want to see the fight. It's BS, this, that, and the third. Same thing for Chavez. They did not want to see the fight, along with the mainstream media, is because they did not want to see their hero lose to the wrong guy. Another saying like Floyd, which is Bud Crawford. They felt that loss is going to be not just to Canelo, but to Mexico itself. They were trying to save hearts from breaking. They were trying to save eyes from tearing. You see, that's the terror Bud brought to the world when he whooped Canelo Alvarez. Let me tell you this, the mainstream media had been trying so hard to protect and break the cycle chain of the black fighters constantly whooping everybody else. They tried to create another narrative that now it's the European time. Like what? Or whatever time it was, even though it wasn't. And this exposed it all. They were praising Canelo for whooping all the Europeans outside of Beterbiev and Bivol. They were praising how Canelo is unbeatable at 168, what they said and knew he can't do to move up and fight Gervonta. Crawford did. He moved up and beat Canelo. That's how Bud ended up rewriting history with his own fist back to its original form. Now, we all know ever since Floyd retired, it was Ward that picked up the torch and then Crawford. That's the pound for pound kings ever since Floyd retired. That's it, that's all. Crawford did not share his pound for pound throne with anyone. All the other fighters, the mainstream media told you guys that they were sitting on Crawford's throne. What happened to them? They ended up getting killed or what? I mean, KO'd Roman Gonzalez, Gennady Golovkin, Kovalev, Lomachenko, and now Canelo. Even Inoue, who never fought outside of Japan. Man, this guy is getting dropped by cherry picks. And then after Crawford versus Canelo the next day, I didn't even know Inoue was fighting. Man, MJ was whooping Inoue. He made him look terrible. I don't even want to see people say Inoue's top 3 right now. That's how bad he looked. But the mainstream media wouldn't tell you anything about that. They try to act like we didn't see that or that didn't take place. We all know what time it is. Crawford didn't share his throne with anyone. Not Canelo, not Roman Gonzalez, not Lomachenko. They got their behind whooped. Meanwhile, Crawford is the one that's delivering the whooping. I told you guys a million times, in boxing, the ring is the truth teller. The mainstream media, the Hispanic fighters, the Hispanic fans did not want to see this fight because they did not want to see the narratives they created get exposed. I mean, even from as little as Crawford has a weak resume. Like what? Do you guys know Chavez, when they brag about him being 89-0 or something like that, his first 45 fights were against cab drivers. I kid you not. Do you guys know who Chavez Senior fought in his 47th fight? Chavez was 47-0 and he fought someone in Mexico making his debut. I kid you not. So what the hell y'all talking about 89-0? Chavez's real record when he was 89-0 was really 15 fights, 15 real championship fights, 3 to 5 losses, and a couple draws. That's if we keeping it a buck. When Chavez was 89-0 and lost for the first time to Frankie Randall, he was really 89 with 3 losses and perhaps a draw. But for sure, he had 3 losses to Frankie Randall, Pernell Whitaker, and Taylor. Now, after that, he got KO'd and even quit against Oscar De La Hoya when he was 33 years old. By that point, he had 5 losses. So, in reality, Chavez's real record is 15 fights, not counting the cherry picks and tomato cans. He had 15 wins, 5 losses, and 2 by KO. When you look at Chavez's career, it's full of tomato cans. I'm talking about like 85%, right? Canelo even. Majority of his record on the come up were tomato cans. It doesn't matter how you get to the top as long as you get to the top, but you can't use that as extra credentials, bragging as if he's over Floyd when Floyd is 23-0 against champions, pound for pound fighters, Hall of Famers, etc. Crawford fought 16 champions back to back to back for the record. Some of them were pound for pound fighters, Hall of Famers. I mean, he fought the best fighters from every country. Matter of fact, before Bud made it to the top, he was fighting more elite competition than Canelo against champions after he became a champion. I mean, Canelo fought Ricky Hatton, brother. He dragged him from 147 to 154 to fight for a vacant title when he won his first world title. There were contenders and prospects that Crawford fought that was way better than that. And that's my point. You don't get to dictate who has a better resume when your ass cherry-picked and have a weaker resume. And that's how Crawford exposed Canelo and the entire industry. Because if you look at Bud Crawford, he fought 16 championship fights back to back to back. If you look at Floyd Money Mayweather, he fought 23 champions. You can't compare that to somebody that fought 50 tomato cans back to back to back, and then you want to brag about his 89-0 record when even the fights after he was 50-0 were still cherry-pick fights, not quality fights. Like I said before, by the time Chavez was 89-0, his real record against real opposition, like Bud, like Floyd, was 15 fights with 5 losses. Or 3 losses, I should say. Because it was Taylor, Pernell Whitaker, and Frankie Randall. That's why I said Crawford has a better resume than Canelo. Spence is a better win than any win on Canelo's resume. He never dominated anybody like that. When he fought Triple G, he barely beat him on steroid. So you can't say Canelo had a better resume. Canelo doesn't have a Porter KO, Spence KO, Benavidez KO. All I see is ducks on Canelo's resume. That's how Crawford ended up exposing every narrative the mainstream media made about him, along with the race fans. He did it by whooping the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, Canelo Alvarez. According to y'all the one who said Canelo had a better resume than Chavez or whoever it is, and this, that, and the third. Well, under all them circumstances, Bud still whooped him to the point where, according to Chavez Senior, Canelo disrespected himself. Or I should say, Bud disrespected Canelo with that type of ass whooping. The real reason why Chavez Senior said, man, Canelo's gonna disrespect himself losing to Bud, I don't want to see the fight. The reason why he said that is because what Morales said. Remember, Eric Morales came out stating, man, let's tell the truth. After seeing and witnessing Crawford whoop Canelo the way he did, the Black American fighters have kicked all of our asses. It doesn't matter who you are. They are the best, second to none. Eric Morales was all praised to the point where he was talking about black fighters as if they were all from Vegeta Planet, as if they were all Super Saiyans. I mean, he was so impressed. He was like, man, These guys beat us under any circumstances, any situation. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if they had the disadvantage or the advantage. Whatever it is, they beat us on the front foot, the back foot, mid-range, outside, inside, by KO like Tank Ryan, by schooling like Floyd versus Canelo, by ass whipping like Crawford versus Canelo, by, dropping them and beating them like Frankie Randall versus Chavez Senior, by schooling them like Pernell Whitaker versus Chavez Senior. You name it, they done did it. And they're going to keep on doing it again and again and again. History always repeats itself. I already made a video on what Erik Morales had to say. I'm going to leave a link for that video in the comment section below. You guys need to watch it because it was the real life version of Vegeta talking about Goku, saying that he's better than him. He can't surpass him. That's how Erik Morales was talking about Crawford. Matter of fact, he was talking as if he was Krillin, not even Vegeta. This is why Chavez said Canelo will disrespect himself losing to Bud, because he knew that will shine a light on Canelo, and not just Canelo, but all the Mexican great fighters that lost to black fighters. And we all know it's all of them outside the ones that ducked every single one of them and didn't get in the ring with them, or didn't have the cojones to get in the ring with them, since they didn't want to receive similar fate. I'm going to leave you guys with what Erik Morales had to say. With that being said, go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Have you guys seen Chavez Senior? Ever since Crawford put the Super Saiyan whooping on Canelo Alvarez, man, Chavez disappeared quicker than Goku Ultra Instinct. Subscribe below and to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, TV. Peace out. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
A nivel mundial, pues hay muchas técnicas, alguna que nos ha afectado bastante y que nos ha ganado muchas peleas, la americana, ¿no? Los peleadores morenitos nos han ganado casi todas, güey. O sea, pues así me atrevo a decir que en la historia vete para atrás y cuenta, y nos han ganado muchas.
Pues esto, a lo mejor lo viste, Lalo Camarena hizo esta estadística que estamos como a 130 a 120 en peleas. O sea, 130 para Estados Unidos, 120 para México. Y estás contando ahí a los mexicoamericanos como gringos.
No, me quedé chingado, ya quisiera yo. Si nomás de los últimos 30 años nos han madreado todos. Mira, pon tú, Chávez sí le ganó a muchos, pero me lo chingó Frankie Randall y me lo chingó cuando quiso ir a welter. Pernell Whitaker. Luego, a Barrera se lo chingó Junior Jones.
Sí,
dos veces.
¿Tú te chingaste a Jones?
Sí, pero luego vino esa guerra aquí y me madreó a mí. ¿No? Entonces, luego, Cobrita González se lo chingó un peleador morenito, ¿cómo se llama? Yo peleé con él mucho tiempo después, pero cuando estaba en su época, estaba bien cabrón, güey. Y le ganaron a la Cobra González. ¿Quién más?
Pues Mayweather se chingó a todos.
Mayweather se chingó a todos.
Bueno, Castillo.
Pon tú, batalló con Castillo, pero sí, bailó a la mayoría. Luego, recién, Crawford, madreó Canelo. Entonces, en las peleas grandes, pues nos han madreado la mayoría de veces, y no blancos, güey, los morenitos.
¿Qué tienen los morenitos? ¿Qué?
Pues no les hemos hallado, güey.
¿La parte física que tienen?
Pues es que son muy hábiles, son rápidos. La defensa que tienen, son muy hábiles en la defensa,